Okay, you are certainly one of our local experts on her life and times. Speaking of, let's talk about the timing of this announcement. We just heard from House Speaker Mike Johnson saying it was interesting being on the heels of the election, saying that this means the Democratic Party is turning more liberal. Do you think there's any truth to that?
I mean, again, I mean, the stuff that the Republicans say about Nancy Pelosi, the idea that she is retiring and that's a sign that it's becoming, more liberal. This is the thing that I think most people didn't appreciate about Nancy Pelosi, and she took grief over this for her entire career. She had the heart of a liberal, but she had the pragmatism, the brain of a pragmatist, meaning that she represented San Francisco's liberal values, and she was a liberal to the core. People in Washington were stunned when I would tell them that people in San Francisco actually thought she was not liberal enough at times. But she also always wanted to win. And she understood that imposing San Francisco values, priorities on the entire nation would never leave the Democrats to the majority. So she sort of, again, she was like, when she was speaker, she was very supportive of conservative Democrats from Southern Indiana, from North Carolina, from Texas, while at the same time trying to get a Democratic majority that could push some liberal ideas forward.
Her strategy really was unmatched and it's made its mark on the party for decades now. How do you think that could ever be replaced?
It's clearly a void because she was behind the scenes operator. She was a behind the scenes operator, for years, and she understood the details. I'm sure that they will be calling her for expertise, but look, times march on. I mean, there are. She was 47 years old when she first ran for office, and her youngest daughter Alexandra was she was a senior in high school at that point. There are now over 100 members of Congress who are younger than her youngest daughter. I mean, there's got to be a time when people move on and turn over to the next leaf. I teach students at the University of California, and as much as some of them may respect Pelosi, she's old enough to be their grandmother, for some of them, even their great grandmother. And I think she understands that it's time for a new generation.
Sure, she's 85 years old. I wouldn't blame her for wanting a break. But talk about her potential successor because she's been known as sort of the kingmaker of the Democratic Party. But I'm not seeing somebody who was specifically chosen to be her replacement.
No, I think that she had a couple people in mind, and neither of them are still in the House. But Hakeem Jeffries, who is the Democratic leader and who will become Speaker if Democrats take control, is somebody who's very close to Pelosi, and she has worked with him, a great deal. I mean, nationally, it's unclear who it is, and San Francisco is going to face this fascinating choice because you've got a couple of announced candidates already. You've got Shaikat Chakrabarti, who is a former chief of staff for AOC, who represents the left wing. He's in San Francisco running, and you've got Scott Wiener, the state senator, who is much more of the pragmatist. And just like when Pelosi ran in 1987, when she was the establishment figure versus Harry Britt, who was Harvey Milk uh, uh, accolade. San Francisco has to decide whether or not it wants a liberal out there shouting liberal values or whether it wants an inside operator who can try to get, things done from the inside. There's not a right answer on that quiz. I mean, there are definitely different approaches to this. Pelosi was very, very clear, and all you have to do is look at the Republicans and the trouble they have had keeping their coalition together. I mean, the far right of the Republican Party and the right of the Republican Party in the House are always at war with each other. Pelosi kept together, the AOCs of the party and the conservatives in the Democratic Party in a way that politicians since have had an impossible time doing.
Yeah, pretty remarkable. All right. Thanks for your insight, Mark.